Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Page 3 Hot Topics. How are you girls doing this week?
Good, thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are one girl down. Jay is ill, so sending our very best wishes to Jay. We hope she gets better soon. But in the meantime, the three musketeers are here to pull you through all of this week's hot topics. We've got everything from Jennifer Aniston, vaccines, Olympics, all the way through to the royal family. Now, if you guys have got anything you would like to say about any of the topics this week or any comments that you have, then just get in touch in the comments below and we can get them answered for you. So, girls, let's kick things off with Hollywood royalty, Jennifer Aniston. Also, cannot believe she still looks this amazing at her age. She just looks incredible, can I just say? The woman does not age. But she has come out this week and is saying she's cutting off anti-vax friends. Now, obviously, everyone's entitled to their own opinion about the vaccine. It's everyone's personal judgment. It's all their own bodies, etc. We live in a free society. But just as some reaction to Jennifer, Daisy, do you have anything you would like to say on that? Cutting off anti-vax friends.
Oh, it's pretty cutthroat, really, isn't it? Like, no, it's either her way or the highway. I do get it, like you're saying, everyone's entitled to their opinions, but people aren't getting it for their own reasoning, whether that be illnesses or how their body reacts to certain things. You know, you just don't know. So I think it's quite harsh to judge someone straight away and say, do you know what, if you're not getting it, then we're not friends anymore.
I mean, that makes an interesting point. But Chloe, would you agree with Daisy on that point?
I think it's absolutely crazy. I mean, what the hell is like going on? Like cutting off your friends because they haven't had like a jab. Like it's mental, like absolute madness. Like I couldn't think of anything worse than cutting off my friend just because they haven't had a jab.
I mean, people do say that your friends should be a reflection of what you are, right? Who you hang around with, I think, is probably quite a good indicator of who you are as a person. So on the flip side of what you girls are saying, can you see her point as to why she would do it? Or is it an absolute no-no? I mean, you said, Chloe, you don't understand. But what about you, Daisy? Would you necessarily agree with that?
I think obviously I have just said that people don't get it for their own reasoning. So also I suppose on the other shoe, there's a reason why somebody wouldn't want to hang around someone that hasn't had it, whether they're protecting themselves or whatnot. I just think it's so difficult, isn't it? You just don't want to say anything because everyone's got something to say about it.
Yeah. Some people can't have it for health reasons as well. So like cutting off a friend because of that is just would be so like horrible, I think, because they can't help it if they can't have it.
Now, I mean, obviously, let's put health reasons out the window just for a second. Let's say you're eligible, you're a fit, healthy, young person, you get a call up to go for your vaccine, and then you turn it down. Now, do you think that's selfish, perhaps, on more elderly communities or people who are more vulnerable and who are shielding in case they catch it off you and then they have long-term effects from it? What would you say to that? Because that is a counter argument, which some people would say.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand with the elderly people, definitely, because I really have to protect my nan and granddad. But most people elderly have had the jab, and it's meant to secure you. So I just tend to be careful, wear my mask and that. But yeah, I can agree on that. Really can, yeah.
I don't know.
Would you agree?
I don't know. I don't think it is selfish. I think, you know, everyone's it's their body. If they don't want to put something in their body, then fair enough. If they do, then so be it. Again, like, you know, this jab is supposed to be protecting you, and if you feel like it's going to protect yourself, then go and get it. I don't think it's fair to then pinpoint on somebody who chooses not to have it as classing them as being selfish.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Tim's got in touch saying the problem is too many people are listening to conspiracy theories. Now, can you empathize with people, girls, who are listening to theories and stuff online and not properly doing their research and just seeing what we like to call fake news, essentially. They're not looking into it. They're just seeing, something which looks like it's from an okay source online and just believing it to be true.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've heard they're giving away like free kebabs if you get the jab and stuff.
What?
I mean, I wouldn't mind a free kebab, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, I've heard all this different stuff, free concert tickets. Have you not heard?
Yeah, so there is a government scheme which I think they're putting into place now to get more young people signed up to getting the vaccine, which is enticing them through shopping vouchers, whatnot, and all sorts to try and get the young people to try and go get the vaccine. So that is true. It's not been confirmed yet, but there are talks about it, I think. One of them being free pizza, etc. But do you think it's harmful for people to be listening to conspiracy theories and stuff online? What would you say, Daisy?
Of course it is. Of course it is. If it's not coming from a reliable source and it's just your next door neighbour, ranting their opinion, then fair enough. But
next door neighbour.
It's one of those things, isn't it? People like the facts, and I do think, I can empathise with those people that are like, it is very new, we don't know everything just yet. And then the people that are like, don't be stupid, we do know everything, trust in it. But then also you've got people with incentives to get it. I don't know.
I know.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I mean, also, I do find that the government have given us so many different pieces of information from the start of the pandemic, where they said, we're just going to go into a small lockdown and then cases will drop. And then here we are in 2021, in August now, and then we're still getting restrictions about where we can go on holiday, etc. So who'd have thought we'd have been in there? So I can actually understand where the mixed messaging and stuff is coming from.
The trust has been lost.
Yeah.
The trust has been lost. The trust has been lost. That's cool. Ryan has got in touch saying, I wonder if Jennifer asked for their reasonings before cutting them off.
That's
On that note, Chloe, do you think that it's really your business to ask whether what someone's reasonings about why they should or shouldn't?
No, I think that's disgusting. I think people will ask why you're not having it. I think that is disgusting. I've had this conversation with my mum actually, because like when people ask like, why are you not having it? I think that is like, I don't know. I think that's very private matter. Like, I don't know. I'm very strongly opinionated about that. I think they shouldn't ask why they can't have it. I think it's rude.
None of your business.
Yeah.
So, I think it depends who, doesn't it? Like, she's saying she's cut off her friends. I tell my friends anything and everything, if not too much. So I feel like I would be able to explain that to my friend. I don't know if maybe she's just using it as an excuse for less friends, maybe.
And way of cutting people off.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Tim's got in touch again, quite vocal about this, Tim. I had mine, didn't even think twice, but I do suffer with multiple health issues, including blood clots. And Tim's had it, and Tim's had both of his jabs here.
Yeah.
So I think it really does depend on the medical issues, doesn't it, behind it? And it's all quite a personal opinion. I think we can all agree on that, would you say?
Yeah,
of course.
Definitely.
So we asked you guys at home on this on a poll. So let's take a look at the results. Would you stop being friends with someone if they refuse the COVID jab? Yes, 17%. No, 82%. Now, Chloe, you laughed. Do those poll results surprise you?
No, not at all. No.
And you're the same, Daisy.
Yeah, I just think, honestly, I do just think it's so hard. Call me a bit blasé, but it's just one of those things that I can't sit there and think about and like overly overanalyze. Because what are you going to do? What are you going to say to your friend? You can't come in unless you prove it.
it's difficult. Also, we've got tests and stuff available to us now daily, which we can take lateral flows and PCR tests. So it's very different from the start of the pandemic. So we can stay safe.
Yeah.
I just lost that comment there. I think it was from William. Sorry. This virus is about people, so it's wise to get vaccinated, in my opinion. Interesting. Okay, right. Let's move it on to the next topic. Obviously, we're going into what some would say a COVID. Well, it's had effects on the Olympics, hasn't it, COVID? So we're going to talk about the Olympics now. Team GB enjoy gold rush at Tokyo Olympics. They have been doing amazingly, despite the fact that obviously COVID got in the way this year and there aren't as many crowds. And there's Tom Daley, one of the stars from the GB team, knitting away at the Olympics. I guess if you don't have a big crowd there, you know, knitting to pass the time when the sport has been paused for a bit in between games. But obviously the Olympics is very different this year, isn't it? There's no crowds, etc. So girls, honestly, first off, Daisy, have you been watching?
No, I haven't been watching the Olympics, but that's also because of being like really busy. Maybe if I was at home not doing anything, I would have put it on.
Okay.
But no, I haven't gone out my way to record it, go home and watch it.
And is that like to do with the fact that it's different this year and there's not as many crowds?
Well, yeah, it's different, isn't it? Like, I don't know.
I haven't watched it either.
I'm not really into the Olympics, watching it.
No,
I like hearing about it, reading about it, but watching is not my thing.
My nan and granddad's been watching it all, but yeah.
Love it. We've got a couple of viewers there we can rely on. Now, obviously, you girls aren't that bothered about the Olympics this year, but that is one of the topics that has been coming up. Obviously, it is different, you know. We've had some great wins from it, and we should not let, you know, COVID or the lack of crowds get in the way from what the the top of their game, the top of their sport. We've got some amazing talent in Great Britain that we're bringing back home. But obviously, who can we think of that always speaks out on topics and always gives a little controversial opinion? Is the man himself, Piers Morgan. Now, he has been tweeting away, Instagramming away, saying it's boring. So Piers said, people attack me for saying nobody cares about the Olympics. Here is Tom Daley doing his knitting during the women's 3 meters diving final. I rest my case. Now, let's just bear in mind, Tom Daley has actually won gold for Great Britain. And that is one of the and also one of the lovely stories coming from it is the fact he has been doing knitting. So what do you think about what Piers Morgan has been spouting off about on Twitter, should I say? Sort of like having a go at all the Olympians, saying, you know, if they don't win gold, then, you know, it doesn't really matter. Real sporting champions don't celebrate coming third, even though getting a bronze medal at the Olympics, can I just say, is a great achievement. What do you think about everything that he said about the Olympics so far? First off, Chloe.
I just think that it's really, I love Piers, don't get me wrong, I love you, Piers, but I think, like, how can you dislike our country? I mean, they train so hard, bronze is still so amazing, and to even get through to the Olympics is so hard. So, like, I just don't understand how, like, you can't take that into consideration, how hard they've got a medal. Like, it still should be so, it's an achievement. Just because you haven't got gold doesn't mean you should just, like, quit them out. It's just mad. Yeah, quite right.
And Daisy, what would you say?
Completely agree. You know, they've done so well to even get there, do it. A medal's a medal. It's a massive achievement, no matter what the colour.
Do you think that, you know, Piers sometimes just says these things for reaction, and he does not actually back what he's saying? Like deep down, you know, I'm sure maybe if, you know, let's say there was a sporting day or something with his family and I don't know, one of his sons or something came second or came third.
Yeah.
Do you think then perhaps there would be a different attitude? But because it's the Olympics and it's trending, do you think he jumps on a controversial opinion? What would you say, Izzy?
Yeah, like, ooh, I do think he just loves it, doesn't he? Gets the attention, it gets people talking. We're talking about it now, and even if people haven't been watching the Olympics as such, we're out now all still talking about it through what he is saying, whether that's watching the swimming because you want to see Tom knitting and whatnot. I can't imagine him being at sports day with his children and saying third doesn't count, that's still rubbish, when they're standing on stage with their little trophy or their medal. I don't know. I just think it's hot topic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's what it is. And what do you think, Chloe?
I think exactly the same. I think he likes a bit of attention, a little bit of the camera all just to be on him. He likes to like have a little bit of like a crowd like talking about him all the time. I've heard him in a lot of like arguments. It's what he does, isn't it? It's him.
Yeah, it is. It is him all over, and it has got us talking.
Yeah.
Sophie's got in touch saying, "What event would you like to see Piers trying at the Olympics?" Can't imagine him doing.
I'm going to go on the jumping.
Boxing.
Boxing. That would be good. That would be good. And what did you say?
Oh, I'd like to see him on a horse jumping. Bit of dressage, bit of jumping.
Yes, I can see that. I can see that. I think I quite like to see Piers Morgan diving, because actually those diving are so high that even just him walking up the ladder all the way up and the suspense of him going up and trying to get to the end. Actually, I can imagine that actually being quite a moment for TV.
Yeah, insane goggles and all.
I think someone would need to push him off the diving board, because I don't think he'd be able to do it on his own.
Do you volunteer as tribute, Chloe? Maybe.
Yes, of course.
Now, obviously, moving on from Piers Morgan, even though he did have some things to say about this topic too, and it's surrounding the Olympics, and it's Simone. Now, we know Simone to be, obviously, she plays for USA. She's a fantastic gymnast, and she actually didn't compete in one of these years' events as such. And I don't know the actual term for it, so I apologise at home for any gymnasts watching. But essentially, she couldn't compete and she couldn't play, and that was due to her mental health. Now, it has obviously created a conversation and stuff online, and people are talking about mental health within sports, etc. It's very, very divided. Lots of people are backing her. Piers Morgan, again, sorry, Simone, but there's nothing heroic or brave about quitting because you're not having fun. You let your teammates, your fans, and your country, you let down your teammates, fans, and country. What is your reaction to what Piers has said? Do you agree with him? Do you disagree with him? Anyone got any strong opinions?
No, I disagree with him. I mean, it's so much pressure even going into the Olympics. I couldn't imagine. And mental health, I take really seriously. So I really do disagree. If you don't suffer from mental health, you don't understand like how it feels. It's just horrible. And there's so much pressure involved. And I completely disagree. No, she didn't let her country down.
Yeah, and also she's still got a bronze in the other event.
Yeah, exactly.
Lizzie, what do you think?
I just don't think anybody is ever in any kind of position to comment on somebody else how it feels. I just think you've got to be a very special kind of person to turn around and tell somebody how they're feeling, like they know how they feel. And you know, doing the Olympics, that has got to be almighty pressure. And she's won gold before. So don't you think that whenever you try to do something again, there's even more pressure on the situation? She's like, God, I've won gold before. I'm going to have to do it again. There's no kind of improving from this. It's either that or nothing. So a lot of strain and pressure to put on yourself.
Yeah.
Completely. And we don't know what it's like, being from, I don't know what age she started, but that's all she's ever known. And she has done amazingly for the USA. She is such an inspiration to not only other sportsmen, sportswomen, women alone, everything. She is such an inspiration. I don't think Piers is in any position really to be giving her advice. Tim says, as my parent always said, it's the taking part that counts. And if you did your best, that's all that counts.
Yes,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Been in the Olympics at all.
Yeah,
Exactly. Now, obviously, there's so much to talk about the Olympics, but we want to know at home if you had been watching at all. So we took this to a poll. Have you been watching the Olympics? Yes, 75%. No, 25%. Now, I'm actually surprised by that, and I don't know whether that's perhaps because of an age group thing, as you said, Chloe. People who are perhaps retired or elderly at home, something different to watch on the TV. So I don't know whether maybe that's part of it. But I thought that the poll would be a little bit more balanced. What do you think, Daisy?
Oh, get it. Like, people are at home, so they're going to be watching it. But then the world has just reopened back up again, so people aren't sitting at home watching TV. They're either back at work in the office, like me. I don't know why it's so dark in here, but they're out and about. They can go out now. They can go to the pub. They can go out for lunch. People aren't sitting there watching it. Although I did go to the pub the other night, and the Olympics was on in the pub.
Yeah,
love to see it. To see it. Yeah, you can definitely do both. In fact, I think whenever there's a sport on, where GB are playing, I think it should be every pub in the country.
Yes, definitely, like the football. Yeah,
TVs on and get behind Team GB.
Yeah,
I reckon.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at that poll, though. Really.
No. All right then. Well, that is the Olympics chat done. And now we're going to move on to the royal family. Now, a new trailer has dropped for an HBO Max series, which has caused a little bit of reaction online. So let's take a look. It's called The Prince.
I know some of you are anxious. Some of you are frightened. But together, we will succeed.
I would like a treat. I would like a treat. The Queen would like a treat.
Excuse me, do you have any tea that doesn't taste like piss? Thanks. Owen, let's go over my day tomorrow.
You have school?
I don't know why I'm auditioning with you guys. I doubt anyone else here is even a tenor.
We're all tenors. We're 7.
A play date.
Glad you could make it.
And snack.
Oi, tea! Thank you.
Okay, that kid freaks me out.
Well, first of all, just want to apologise if you heard any naughty language in there. But that was HBO Max's The Prince. Now, obviously, the Prince represents Prince George. Okay, so you can kind of get the picture there. He has been depicted in what some would describe as perhaps a spoiled light. So do you think it's fair, girls, to be depicting George in this way, or is it just a bit of fun? It's just a cartoon, doesn't really mean anything. Chloe first.
I don't agree at all. He's a little boy. Like, I just think you can't do that to children. I just think it's disgusting. It's like trolling. He might actually get upset about that. Like, if he ever saw it.
Yeah. Or do you think that's just like something that comes with being part of the royal family? You will get people who will be doing, impressions of you. And I've done an impression of the Queen, like, would you like some tea? Kind of thing. Daisy, what do you think?
Part of me feels bad because I did find it quite funny, but it's part of being part of the royal family as well. However, there is a line, and we haven't seen the full thing. We have just seen the trailer. It does look a little bit like that line has been crossed. I think just because he's so young, isn't it? Like, if he was an adult and he could kind of understand the humour and get it, growing up and then people watching that and come back to you and be like, oh, like you're not like how you are in that cartoon. You know, I don't know how it kind of really sets the standards for him getting older. I just think there's a line and I'm not sure where they are on the line.
Now, this is the thing, obviously, that it's just a trailer. It's just a glimpse. It's supposed to get people talking. It's supposed to get people really interested in it to watch the rest of it. Now, we just lost Chloe there just for a second. She might be coming back. Just a little bit of technical difficulties. Still working from home, you see. So bear with. But just between me and you, Daisy, now. So obviously we've got, you know, The Crown and stuff on Netflix, etc. So this is a cartoon. It doesn't even have real actors in. Now, Alan Cummings has said, who plays the butler, says it's good-hearted. Now, from the trailer, you said there was, you know, a bit of a crossing the line there. How do you think from the trailer that Prince George comes across, Daisy?
Bit spoiled, bit bratish. Is that, you're allowed to say that? Yeah, just not very prim and proper, as I suppose they all try to come across and want to come across the public eye. But then, like Tim's saying, it is Family Guy. You know, they're taking the mick out of people. I get that.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously, I mean, Tim's got in touch saying it doesn't look any worse than Spitting Image or Family Guy, who do impressions or take the mickey out of famous people. Yeah, I mean, but also you kind of have to think this is 2021 now. And, you know, times have changed. Just welcoming back Chloe. Chloe, hi.
I don't know what happened, guys.
Absolutely fine. Just still talking about the trailer. Now, what would you say, Chloe? How would you, I mean, Daisy said, you know, spoilt and slightly bratish Prince George was coming across. Are there any other adjectives that you would use in terms of how Prince George came across in that trailer?
Yeah, I just generally think the same. Spoil is my main one, and quite like they're just digging at the royal family. I think it's just digs at the royal family. They know what they're doing.
Oh, completely. I'm sure they absolutely know what. I mean, that's where the storyline has come from, right? Is the royal family. But do you think that is part of being part of the royal family? You will get people who don't like you. You will get people that like you. You know, you are being funded, essentially. A lot of the funding is coming from the taxpayer. So therefore, they should be under public scrutiny, just as the government is. Is the counter argument here? What would you say?
I think people will either like you or not like you, famous or not.
Yeah.
Everyone's always going to have those opinions over
again.
Yeah.
Especially in the royal family.
Yeah, quite. Now, obviously, that's an American show as well, so that's not a British show. So that's interesting. Everything is a little bit more dramatic, isn't it?
Of course.
Yeah.
Hollywood. Now, we're going to have to wrap up, I'm afraid, this week, girls. But there'll be lots more to talk about in the upcoming Page 3 Hot Topics. This will be going onto our Daily Star Instagram. If you haven't followed us yet, follow us. Have a look at the IGTVs on there for you to take a look at. But thank you so much for coming on, girls.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.